said before that nature is a jerk. What do you mean by that, and what does it tell us about ethics?
Well, if you were to scour the entire natural world, you're never going to stub your toe on some morality. Nature doesn't have moral facts like that. Nature doesn't have stuff. Just if you added up all the facts that describe how nature is, you're never going to stumble on some ought, some moral ought. That's not the same category. It's a fundamentally different something. Some animals we found can have charitable behavior, altruism, and some animals eat their young. Nature does what it does. And if you're going to look to nature to get your morality, you're going to be looking for a while before you find anything, and I don't know that you're going to find anything. Now, there are arguments people try to make that you can somehow, without God, get to morality, but I have yet to find any that actually escape what's called the is-ought problem. How do you go from is, the facts of what is, descriptions, to what ought to be, prescriptions? If we get down into, you might say, the metaphysics, the moral ontology, you're going to drop some big words on you. If you want to get down into what what do we mean by ought, what ought to be, that's a weird relationship. You're never going to bang atoms together enough and get ought. You're never going to get lions hunting enough to get some ought. You're never going to grow some trees and the fruit is some ought. That's not what you can get from nature. Ought is a hypothetical type of category. It's talking about something that may never ever exist in the natural world. Ideally, we should have world peace. That's what we ought to strive for, but that's never happened before. So it's not a natural fact. It probably won't happen, given natural forces, probably won't ever happen in nature. And so how do we have that kind of a category in reality as some sort of reference point for our behavior if nature doesn't have that? And so to bridge from the natural facts is to the moral ought, you're going to need something that can handle oughts. You're going to need a mind. And I would contend that you need a divine mind if you're going to have an ought of that kind of scope, that even people can be accountable to them. Because we can understand ought, we can understand hypotheticals, we can understand should, but our minds are more of nature if we're just evolved wet meat machines. And so our minds don't actually resolve the problem if we're just determined by blind, indifferent natural forces too. And so when I say nature is a jerk, I'm talking about how nature is red in tooth and claw and is a terrible reference point for getting our morality.